This level of hate is actually crazy as Markieff Morris Sr. went on First Take once again and did nothing but absolutely hate and throw shade at the Oklahoma City Thunder, even going on and kind of stating that they're the worst team left in the NBA playoffs. It is absolutely crazy to think that. A 68-win team, all right? 68 wins, one of the best defenses of all time. When you look at net rating and a bunch of other stats, one of the best teams of all time is somehow the worst team left in the playoffs between the Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks, and Minnesota Timberwolves. Are you kidding me? That's the worst team out of those four. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder is the worst team left in the playoffs. I don't think so. So we're going to break down everything that he said on First Take because he's thrown a ton of shade at the Oklahoma City Thunder ever since the play-in tournament, kind of stating like, man, they're not even the fourth best team in the Western Conference playoffs. He was saying that the Lakers, Warriors, Nuggets, and Clippers were better teams than the Thunder. So we're going to break down what he said today on First Take, along with a surprise guest that came on the show and kind of said, look, he's absolutely wrong. I don't know what he's talking about, and go into the reasons why the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team left in the playoffs and why they have the easiest path to win the NBA Finals. Before we get into all this, though, quick moment once again to recognize that around 66% of you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find yourself going back on a regular basis and you enjoy the content we put out and you want to support, the best way to do so is just by hitting that subscribe button. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well so we can defeat this YouTube algorithm and get these kinds of videos out to more people on the internet. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into talking about what Markieff Morris Sr. said. And I want to go ahead and get into it. You might be confused. Was it Marcus or was it Markieff? It was Marcus, all right? Don't throw shade at Markieff for what Marcus said. We'll get into the reason why later in this video. But Markieff Morris Sr. has been saying some crazy stuff about the Oklahoma City Thunder, to say the least. It's been absolutely crazy, all right? This is what he had to say. I'm not that sold on OKC, and this is the short thing. I'll give you the full quote as well, what he said on the show. Simple enough, he was like, I'm not that sold on OKC, and it's like multitude of reasons. He was like, oh, maybe they shouldn't have got past the Grizzlies, blah, blah, blah. They got lucky against the Nuggets. Well, here is the exact thing that he said. No, not that high of a favorite. I'm not sold. I just think that the first two games was great matches, right? They got a Grizzly team that really wasn't deep. They really didn't even come out and try to play. Ja Morant got hurt, and then you go to 7 with Denver. Denver had a rookie head coach that didn't make adjustments in real time because that game could have gotten away from OKC. Right? They put Caruso, which is a great move. They put Caruso on the big fella, and he's referring to Nikola Jokic there. They couldn't figure it out. They slowed the offense down, and they got out of it. I'm not that sold on OKC. I just can't, especially when they're going up against Minnesota. Minnesota has been proven. They was in the same spot last year. They went against the big dogs of the Lakers. Big dogs of the Lakers? What do you mean, big dogs? They were one of the worst teams in the NBA Western Conference playoffs. All right? Like, the Lakers just weren't that good. They weren't built that well. Obviously, Steph went out against the Warriors, but they really had some challenges, and they got out of them series quite fast. Now, I'll give you the Warriors thing. Yes, they got out of it quite fast because Stephen Curry went down. If Steph is healthy, it might go to 7 games. I'll go ahead and give him that. It might go to 7 games. But saying, oh, they beat the best team in the Western Conference playoffs, I thought were the Lakers. The Lakers were not the best team in the Western Conference playoffs. What? Because they had LeBron James and Luka Doncic? What else they have built around him? All right. Austin Reeves, who was solid, yeah. But, like as your third option, like he could do work. But those are your 3 best players. You're not winning a championship with your starting center being Jared Vanderbilt. That simple. You're not. You're not going to win a championship with your starting center being Jared Vanderbilt. Like, I'm sorry to break that news to you. That's just not enough size, and you can't really do anything down low defensively or offensively. That's why the Lakers weren't even a top 4 team in the Western Conference playoffs, in my opinion. Okay? And it was kind of proved when you saw who were the final 4 teams in the Western Conference as well. But going out of that and everything, it's just kind of crazy he would go on to say that. I'm glad he gave Alex Caruso his flowers, though, all right? As, look at this right here. Alex Caruso off the bench in Game 7. He had 11 points, 3 steals, went 5 of 7 from the field, and plus 40, thanks to his amazing defensive play on Nikola Jokic, okay? I'm glad he gave him his flowers because Alex Caruso really has been the MVP of the playoffs so far for the Thunder. Without him, they might get bounced in round 2. So I like going into that, talking about the Caruso, Giddey trade once again, a little bit here, just quick brief mention. If you don't trade for Caruso, you don't beat Denver. That's simple. That's simple. Okay. Might not even, beat Minnesota in this third in the Western Conference Finals if you don't have Caruso here. And I still have Thunder and 6 against the Timberwolves. But going into all that though, he did have a surprise guest come on and kind of say, look, he's an idiot. I don't know what he's talking about. And that was his brother. All right. Let's take a sorry. Allergies still getting over him a little bit. Markieff Morris crashed the set to tell Stephen A. Smith, and it's OKC in 5, which I think that's a little bold, okay? I think that one's a little bold. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water there. I told Marcus this. If OKC makes it to the Western Conference Finals, they're going to win the championship. And I can kind of agree with him. All right? I can kind of agree with him right there. So, yeah, right there. Okay, cool. He wins the championship. Sorry, I was looking away for something. They win the championship if they make the Western Conference Finals. I completely agree with that, okay? It's going to be difficult, but here are my 2 reasons why. Let's look at some stats here, okay? First up, here are the shooting stats, all the splits here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been the best player for the Thunder when it comes to offense. There's no doubt about that. But he still has been great, only shooting 47.8% from the field and 29% from 3. He's got to be better. Shooting-wise, he's got to have better percentages. 1 for 5 from 3, it's not going to cut it. Okay, 10 for 21. He's got to go like 12 for 21, 13 for 21. He's got to go 2 for 5 from 3. Maybe stop taking as many 3-pointers. But it's the fact that he's still scoring so much and doing so well, and they won this. J-Dub, same thing. He can't be shooting 25% from 3. Chet Holmgren, 32% from 3. We can kind of live with that, but it's still got to be a little bit better. And 45% from the field, got to be a little bit better there as well. Isaiah Hartenstein's been shooting well from the field, 60%. Alex Caruso has really stepped it up, 45% from the field, 41% from 3. Look at some of these other guys. Dort, he's got to be better shooting-wise, okay? Aaron Wiggins got to be shooting better from 3. Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, he's picked it up a little bit here and there, but he's also been losing a ton of minutes now lately. Just looking at all these guys, shooting-wise, the team's got to be better. It's the fact that they aren't shooting it that well, and they still made it to the Western Conference Finals. If they somehow pick it up against the Timberwolves, and I have a feeling they will, since Minnesota likes to go small from time to time, I think that they win in 6 because of that, and you're going to see the shooting greatly increase. They've only shot 32% from 3 as a team in the playoffs so far. Against the Timberwolves, you could see them shoot 37% from 3 as a team, and if they do that, they could even win in 5, like Markieff said. Let's look at some other stats here now. These are like all the stats combined, all right? All the player stats. Shai's still getting 29. Dub's still almost getting 20. Chet's getting almost 16. Hartenstein getting 10. Caruso getting 9. Dort getting 8. So, these guys are still getting their buckets, but yet they're still not shooting it that great. That's the thing. If they start shooting it what they usually do, you're going to see Shai get 35 a game. You're going to see Dub get 24. You're going to see Chet get 20. You're going to see it, substantially increase there. That's the problem. That's the thing right there. You're going to see it increase, okay? 6 rebounds a game for Shai, which is kind of nice, and 6 assists. Still playing great defense, 1.5 steals, and almost a block a game, not turning over either. Defensively, the team has been great. Almost 11 steals a game, and then 6 blocks. Like I said, though, scoring-wise, they got to be better. They're still getting 117 points a game on average, but they're not shooting it that great. That's the thing. They're not shooting it that great. If they shoot at their averages, they're probably getting 130 a game, and no team's beating them if they're doing that. That's simple. That simple. So, yeah, Marcus Morris, a little bit crazy what he was saying. That's all I got. As I'm dying here, okay. Like I mentioned, as always, it would mean the world to me if you guys can hit that subscribe button. Allergies are almost out of the way. I promise. And you won't have to deal with me coughing and taking sips of water here throughout the video, okay? Let me know what you guys personally think the Thunder are winning the series in. Are they winning it in 5, 6, 7? Are they losing the series for some reason? Are they going to sweep? Let me know down in the comment section below. See you guys in the next video.